Greetings art lovers and welcome to the Rockport Art Association and Museum for our sixth and last sneak peek at work that will be offered in their upcoming art auction on Saturday, October 3rd. Still trying to decide on your favourite? As we've said, each year this prestigious fundraising event attracts serious collectors from across the country, as well as those just starting an art collection. We have on offer something for everyone: oils, watercolours, black and white, mixed media and sculpture by some of the late top artists of the area. Let's start today with Emil Groupie's father, Charles P. Groupie, a landscape and marine painter who was born in Picton, Canada in 1860. When Charles Groupie was 10, his father died and the family moved to Rochester, New York. Like all great painters, Charles was interested in art from an early age and spent much of his time sketching and creating watercolours and oils. To help support his mother and sisters, he worked in a sign painting shop where he soon mastered the craft. Eventually, aged 21, he had saved enough to travel steerage to Europe, where he travelled through France, Germany and Holland. There, attracted by its fishing villages, picturesque boats and quaint houses, he finally settled to practice his art. He built a home and a studio in the fishing village of Katwijk aan Zee, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and painted much of his European work in that vicinity. Largely self-taught, he was influenced by the Dutch masters. During the 2 decades he spent in Holland, he returned to the US on occasion, during which time he married and raised a family. With the outbreak of World War I, however, the family decided to return permanently to America. In 1925, after viewing an exhibition in New York featuring beautiful winter harbour scenes of Gloucester by Frederick J. Mulhap, Charles Groupie and his son Emil headed to Cape Ann to see the locale for themselves. Impressed by the ambience, the Groupies moved to Cape Ann, where Charles settled to paint and finished his days in Rockport. He died in 1940, age 80, in his studio where he had been established during the summer for the last 15 years. This image, entitled Rockport Dock, is typical of his marine themes, and we can see what a subtle colourist he had become, with reflections in the water, and his sense of draftsmanship making a harmonious statement in this pictorial and historical painting. And here we have Paul Strazak with Street in Marblehead, a 30 by 36 inch oil on canvas. Born in Brooklyn, New York, Paul Strazak became a resident of Rockport, Massachusetts, where he did landscape painting that brought him national recognition. He studied at the Art Students League in New York City and with Frank Vincent Dumond. In 1953, he moved to Rockport, where he was active in the Art Association and other local civic organisations. "My best pictures are the intuitive ones," he once said, "the ones in which I forget about the rules and just paint. If forgetting the factual truth is better for the picture, then logic has to go. We all know, for example, about the dulling effect of atmospheric perspective. But if, on location, I'm excited by the brilliant colour of a distant white house, if, to me, it looks like a sparkling jewel, then I'm not going to sacrifice that impression for academic correctness." He was a member of the National Academy of Western Art, the American Watercolour Society and the Oil Painters of America. During his long career, he won 185 awards, including 16 gold medals. He and his wife Nancy also maintained a home in Santa Fe for 12 years, and in 1996 he was honoured as Artist of the Year by the Santa Fe Rotary Club. He was widely respected for his willingness to share his talents with young artists and taught numerous workshops, including the Scottsdale Artist School. He wrote several books, his last one being Capturing the Light in Oils. He died July 22nd, 1998, at his home in Rockport. And this scene of Marblehead is very typical of what he was able to do. He loved to paint on location, and it was effective light that was one of his main considerations in capturing something out of doors. Very popular and always highly collectible. And our last painting in this preview exhibition is Anthony Teamy, and the piece is, if I can find my notes, After the Storm, 25-30 oil on canvas. Teamy's harbour scenes are always popular. He loved to paint reflections in water, hence his nickname of the puddle painter, from his habit of going out and painting the wet streets of Rockport and catching the reflected lights in the dark pools on the roadway. Even when using a muted palette, Timmy gets a sense of richness in his tones, creating strong patterns of light, shadow and reflection. He was also a wonderful designer, as we can see from the way he spots 3 notes of red in the foreground boats, and then a hint on top of the fishing boat's cabin, and just a related note on the dock on the left, all designed to move your eye around the painting. He also utilises the Gestalt principle of proximity to group the 2 white foreground boats together and the 2 fishing boats in the back, so that ultimately his design creates the classic 3-in-1 look, thus balancing the composition and creating wholeness. A classic Timmy composition. So there you have it, a sneak peek at a handful of paintings on offer in the 2020 Rockport Art Association and Museum annual auction on Saturday, October 3rd. Did you see something you'd like? If not, keep on checking the website for further details. And in the meantime, let's leave you with a few more images to whet your appetite. We have more by Antonio Serino and Aldro Hibbard. Bernard Corey, always an auction favourite, as well as the ever-popular Charles Mavarley, and works by lesser known though no less talented painters such as Gunnar Biaraby. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this sneak peek over the last few weeks. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And so all that's left for me to say is have a great week and happy collecting.